Checking out all things Western Air netball now, and I've got Reanna Freeman on the line to give us all the latest news and updates. Welcome, Reanna. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Always good to talk to you, and especially when your Hawks are coming off a win. And it was a good round in the Western Air Netball Association, and we'll start with that win by the Hawks. 40-39 over the Western United Tigers. Might have been a little bit closer than you would have liked, but a good win nevertheless.
Yeah, that's right. So we jumped in the car and headed up to Penong. Always a beautiful ground to play on, well catered and lovely people. So we came into this game knowing that it wouldn't be easy. We might have beaten them by 17 last time we played them, but it was very wet conditions and just not a good day for netball, so we didn't really count that one. So knowing it was going to be a hard game coming into this game, we were up by 5 at quarter time and then up by 5 again in the second quarter. And then I reckon it was only by 5 in the third, and then in that last quarter, they were outstanding. Their defensive pressure was really good, really just blocked us up through the middle. They got 9 goals in that last quarter. We only got 5, so a very defensive quarter from both teams. I think there was probably only about 30 seconds left on the clock, and we had it was a draw, and it was Westie's ball, and they had their centre pass, and I think it was Hannah Chenoweth for Hawks took an intercept, and we ended up getting a goal. So we were actually very close to having a draw or losing that game again. So really happy that we got a win, and again knew that it was going to be a hard game. Nissa Bell came off in the first quarter for us. She sort of twinged her knee, so she didn't go back on for that game and is out for this week and maybe a couple more weeks. So wishing her a speedy recovery. And Chloe Ettridge, she came off with a bit of an injury there at one point, but must have been okay because she came back on the fourth quarter. So a really good game. Harriet Appleby for Westies was their best. She played goal defence. She had arms and legs everywhere. Her intensity, second and third efforts were outstanding. And I'd have to say it was more or less the same from our defensive end, and with our captain, Alana Beard. She was outstanding in goal defence, came up against Arani Hofrichter, which is always a strong physical game. And, Lance did a really good job. So a really good game from both teams with a 1-goal win by the Hawks.
No good having those injuries, but you've got 3 weeks until finals for those girls to rehab them and get fit and into good form for the finals. And yeah, the Tigers must be a bit upset. I mean, it's been a mixed bag of results between you two this year. You beat them by 17 last time, but did draw earlier in the year. So the Tigers will be upset to not nab one of those wins either last round or back in round 2. And it just goes to show how close the comp is. I mean, they're 3-6-1, sitting 4th on the table, but 2 of those results clearly could have gone the other way, and suddenly you'd be looking at them really pushing into that top 3.
Yeah, and look, they've been really close with all teams. They sort of have been really around the mark all year and have built all year. They're sort of locked in now to 4th position, not possible for them to get in the top 3 or even 2, but that does give them a home final at Penong. So although they'll be disappointed they're not in the top 2, I think they'll be quite happy to be playing that home final at Penong. So it's just a matter of who they play, and at the moment it'll look like it'll be a rematch of last Saturday's game against the Hawks. So an exciting last few rounds to come.
And in our other game, it was the Ceduna Blues going down to Thevenard 41-32. And for the Blues, once again, I mean, they've got to be the best winless team in any of the comps I cover at least. I mean, 0-9, but they've only gone down to the top team by 9 goals after losing to them by 10 goals 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. So at the start of the year it was 20, then it was 10, this time it was 9, so they're definitely closing the gap. It's got to be said, Stevie, we were without a couple of players, Cassie and Nikki, still overseas. Courtney was back. I believe she would have been quite jet lagged. She only flew in on a Thursday night, so I'm not sure how that transferred onto the court, but Sevi's still happy with the 2 points and a 9-goal win. I believe it wasn't the cleanest of games, just as in a bit scrappy. But, that's what happens at this time of the year. Everyone's sort of desperate to get those wins and put things together on the court. So Blues, I'm sure, will be disappointed, but nevertheless, to come within 9 of the team that's sitting at the top of the ladder when you haven't had a win is still a win in my eyes.
Some of these girls from Thevenard, and not just Thevenard, but all over the place, seem to have spent several weeks in Europe at this point. They're going to be coming back nice and tanned and ready to go for finals, but Yeah, certainly not enjoying too much of the Australian winter, enjoying the European summer a bit more, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. With how hot it was last Saturday, I think they're going to come back in better condition, ready to play in what is normally hot finals for us. So it might do them some favours in the long run, maybe.
Might do. They're getting used to the conditions. Great stuff. And we'll take a look ahead to round 13 and interesting game ahead in round 13. Ceduna taking on the Western United Tigers. And like we said about both of those teams, Tigers probably a bit more in touch with the top three than their record would suggest. And the Blues probably more in touch with the top four than their winless record would suggest. So probably the best chance for the Blues to get a win on the board. It's a home game for them. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think if you looked at paper and looked at our ladder, it doesn't really tell the story of the season. Blues lost to Westies by 3 and then 4, so it's always been a really tight match here. I have heard a few little rumours that Casey, who's the very tall goal shooter for Blues, that she's not playing anymore, but I have not had it confirmed, so I'm not sure whether she's maybe injured or just away, but having her in or out might make a difference in the team. In saying that, sometimes when you lose a key player, it just makes the girls around them step up, so I think that'll make a difference. If Westies plays the game that they played against us last week, I would tip them for a win, and I think their coach would be keen to put a last few combinations on the board and tick a few more boxes before they go into finals. So I would tip Westies to come out on top with this one.
All right, that one should be a good game, but I'm not picking it for match of the round because with Thevenard on the bye, your Hawks are taking on Wirrala 2v3 with second spot on the ladder up for grabs, and possibly even I think your Hawks will go top. But with Thevenard having a game in hand if you win, and same goes for Wirrala, I should say. Either team that wins will go top, but with Thevenard on the bye this week. And this one's being played at Piednippie.
It is a ground very close to my heart, and very sad to say this is the last game that we'll be playing at Piednippie, not just for this year but for the rest of Hawks. Just having the two grounds was providing a little bit hard. So, this will be our last game at Piednippie come tomorrow's game. It should be an absolute cracking game, not just in the A grade but the whole day in general. It's such a beautiful ground, such a great atmosphere. You can stand and watch both the netball and football at the same time. And the old hall, they've certainly seen some parties in there in the past, and I think this Saturday night will be no different. I think everyone's going to go out, not in celebration, because not celebrating the fact that we're not playing anymore, but reminiscing on the memories that we've had and the time that we've had 25 years as Hawks out at Piednippie. But back to the netball, I think it should be a really good game. It always is between Hawks and Wirrala. We are absolute rivals on the court, but the second the whistle goes, we're all really good friends, which is the way country sport should be, or any sport for that matter. It's also a special game for Shannon Johnson. This will be her 200th game, and I think not a better place for that to happen than at Piednippie. So congratulations to her for playing her 200th game. Wirrala, I believe, are going in with more or less a full team. We haven't seen, I don't think Natasha Gill's played when we've played them at all this year, and I don't think she's playing tomorrow. I'm not sure that Amber Woods is in the team anymore. I believe she's moved to Lincoln, so that's slightly different. Last time we played Wirrala, we had a win by 10. They were without Sophie, so they have got both goalies, or all three goalies back this week, and we are without Nissa. So I think this will be a really good matchup. Not only that, but I think it'll be a very heartfelt game, and really looking forward to the day. And I think it'll be a bag of mixed emotions, not only for me but from all the people involved, and just anyone that's around that has a few memories with Piednippie. Come down, say hello, and come watch what should be a fabulous day of sport at Piednippie for the last time.
Yeah, end of an era at Piednippie, and milestone games and all sorts going on there in a very, very important clash between the Hawks and Wirrala. So huge weekend of netball coming up in the Western Air Netball Association. Very excited to see how it all plays out. Enjoy the netball this weekend, Reanna. Good luck, and we'll catch up again next week.
No worries. Thanks very much for having me.